kissing your words. You're now watching Shaw Goods TV. No script, no schedule, just me. I'm literally up in bed in the middle of the night doing this shit, so ignore the fact that I don't have any real lighting and that I sound like this. But here, we're back. We're back. Part 2 basically is a recap. In part 1, we learned how I had my first son at age 15 after being fast with some friends, and how I ended up getting with my ex and having 2 more sons. And the relationship is bad. He's really abusive to me and my son. The courts know about the first time. He did get put on a protective order for like a year, but we got back together at some point. Of course, we didn't let the court know that. I also didn't let them know all the abuse that continued, yada, yada, yada. It got to be too much. We break up for good. But not before he started having seizures. And for no fucking apparent, we don't know what the fuck happened to him. And so I had been dealing with that. He'd been out of work. I've been taking care of the family. Bop, 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 bop. He went down to DCF, told him some shit about my son, my oldest son. They came and removed him from the house. So now me and him are broken up. Me and my sons, my 2 younger sons, live in the same apartment that we shared all those years at the start of this video. All right, part 2, here we go. Well, done for me anyway. I was done. He, on the other hand, had a different idea. And so all of the possessiveness, all of the control, all of the abuse, all of the, like, the DV, all of that went on throughout the entire relationship. And there was so much of that. Like, so many things I could tell you about. Like, Holmes was crazy. Like, Holmes really did have an issue. And once I always knew he had a problem. Like, I think he was a little crazy. But once he got on medications to control his seizures, things got even crazier. Like, crazy. Again, details about that stuff, I want to save for another time. So all of that stuff that went on in the relationship continued. Now, except he was involving my friends and showing up at places I would be at. He would start by texting me and calling me. I see you. I know what you're doing. I see what you're wearing. I know which one of the cars you're in with your friends. Showing up at friends' houses. He attacked 2 co-workers at my job because he thought that maybe I had, well, one of them I kind of did, but he was suspicious of me dealing with them. Leaving all kinds of voice messages, because we had an answering machine. This is how long ago this was. Leaving all kinds of stuff on the answering machine, calling creditors, like just doing whatever he could to make my life miserable. Stealing people's hubcaps that came to visit me, like just wild, dumb stuff. And I suspected that he had a key because, the way my apartment was set up, you needed to lock the deadlock with the key once you left. So I would wake up in the morning, the deadlock would be unlocked. And I'd be like, I know I fucking locked this goddamn the deadbolt would be unlocked. And the only way to lock that is if you had, I can't explain it, but basically because of that, I knew something was up. And I asked him if he had a key, and he was like, no. Well, it turns out he did. He had a key, and he had been coming in every chance he could. Taking things from the house, just coming in, reading my emails, checking my computer activity, just being a fucking creep. And all while this was going on, every time I would kind of confront him, he'd be like, well, just give me my boys, I'll leave you alone. Give me my boys, I'll leave you alone. Da, da, da. He was living with his sister at this point. And I'd be like, dude, I'm not, like, no, we're not going to do that, because why? Like, I'm a mother. So finally, after like months at this point of harassment and just going through it with him, It was a lot. I was still pretty young. Anyway, I woke up one night in the middle of the night to him helping himself to me. And that was just kind of the last straw for me. I had dealt with that for so long. I was just fucking over it. Like, I was just over it. And I was like, you know what? If you're going to leave me alone, and, at this point, I'd been on my own since like 13, had my own place since like 16. I'm in my late 20s. I've been paying these bills, taking care of this full on family, including my disabled son for the last 10 plus years. And I was motherfucking tired. And so I was like, all right, if this is what it's going to take, I'll go get me a little one bedroom apartment. You can have the boys. And his family, a lot of the men had raised their children. So I just kind of thought he was. I wanted to pause here because I want you guys to understand, like, when he was suggesting this to me or quote unquote offering this benefit to me, he was positioning it as a positive thing. And so I was still kind of fooled by him. I was still pretty fucking young. I was still really naive. And so I really thought this was going to be my chance to kind of regain some of my life back because I was tired. I had been on my own for a long time as a young kid, and he was older than me by like 5 years. So I just felt like, he 5 or 6 years. I just felt like he was really trying to help me. He was saying all the things I wanted to hear, and I had no idea how much of it was pure manipulation and pure, like, foolishness. It was all a fucking lie. It was all a fucking lie. If I had the time, like, I just wanted to pop in and say that. Wanting to be like one of his uncles. I don't fucking know. They're boys, so maybe it's not bad. He wasn't a terrible dad to them. He just fucking hated my son and treated me horribly. So fuck it. Okay, this is what we're doing. This is what you want. You can have the boys. I'm gonna go live my happy life. And that's kind of the way he positioned it to me at some point. And that was it. I was like, all right, fine. You can take the boys with you and go live with your sister. That's where he was living anyway. And I moved out of our big ass apartment, got rid of most of our stuff, and moved into a hood ass one bedroom apartment. And that's why I thought life was gonna begin for me. I was fucking wrong. All right, so let's get back to it. I feel like the story time is not as exciting because I'm not giving the detailed version. Like, I'm skipping over mad stuff, and I might go back and tell or talk about some of the detailed stuff. But essentially, at this point, we're up to uh, he's gonna take the boys. I'm gonna move into a smaller apartment, and we're gonna go from there. Now, right when we had already broken up, but when he was officially taking the boys and I was gonna be moving, I had just started a new job, and it wasn't even a full time job. It was like a temp job that would have been hopefully temp to perm. And so I was doing that. We didn't have daycare because leading up to this, he was watching the kids because he at this point is no longer working due to his health and whatever. So I'm living at my new ghetto as apartment, by the way. Like, anyone from Hartford, if I said the address of this apartment building, they'd be like, girl, you you went down bad. But anyway, it was cheap, it was easy, it was quick. Um so anyway, I'm sorry, somebody just texted me something. I'm like, what? So I moved out, and so the plan was when I had to go to work. So the goal or the plan was every day I meet him at my, because my oldest son is in the group home at this point. I meet him at the school of my middle son because my younger son was not in school yet. Drop my son off to school. He takes the baby boy and then he goes about his life. I go to work. When I first got to the place, the one bedroom apartment, probably within, I don't know, not long, a couple weeks, um, he was like, "Oh, me and my sister got into a fight," which could have happened because that happened all the time. Like one of the times at my house, they got into so bad they both did they both get arrested? I can't remember. I don't think they got arrested that night, but it came close to that because that's just how they kind of were. And so he was like, I don't got nowhere to go. So my dumb ass was like, fine, you can come stay with me because I'm dumb. Like, I'm young, I'm still goofy at this point. And I was just like, well, you got to go somewhere. And he's the one that's watching the kids. So, okay, you can come stay here. I'll go to work. Now, what it really was him just still trying to have control. So he comes stays at my ghetto one bedroom apartment. And I think he thought by him being there, we were going to be together, things were going to be different. And it wasn't. I let him stay there, but like I let him, I bit my tongue. I let him stay there, but I still felt the way I felt about him, overall. It was more of a, I don't even fucking know. That doesn't matter. So he's staying there. Well, quickly he starts trying to do the same shit, trying to control what I do, just being really possessive, trying to take advantage of me, and eventually physically fighting me in my apartment. And so that led to me telling him he had to get the fuck on. And he had to get the fuck on. And then he left. And so now it's just me and the boys there. Once I told him he had to go and he left, of course he went back to his sisters because that's what he always was. He then took it upon himself to just ruin my life. So like when I moved into this apartment, like I said, I hadn't been working. I had just started a new job. So I was behind on bills. He was calling creditors, letting them know where I lived, trying to get my car repossessed. We had like a little damn something I have for rent center. I think like a computer or something. He's telling them where I work, telling them where to find me, calling the rental office. The apartment that we moved out of had also gotten purchased recently, like right before we moved, by this guy. In that apartment, there was tons of damage from both my mentally disabled son and my ex just getting mad and breaking shit because he would punch holes in the wall, throw shit through the wall, throw me through the wall, whatever, like just do a bunch of reckless stuff. Now, the new owner bought the house with these damages, but then took it upon himself to go and sue me for all these damages. And so I got sued for like $5,000. Now, both our names are on the lease, or something had happened where at the when we renewed somehow, because at some point he sued our old landlord when he fell outside and hurt himself because she didn't know that she was supposed to, I told her she was new, she didn't know she was supposed to shovel the driveways and the walkways. And so he had fallen out there. I had fallen out there a bunch of times, but he fell the first time and he sued her ass, and she had raised our rent from this, I told you we were getting away with murder. She had raised our rent from this lower amount to this much higher amount. And I think when that happened, he got off the lease. I never saw any of the settlement money he got from her insurance company, by the way. He got all kinds of new shit, new tires for his car, new clothes. He went shopping, took me, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's just me. That's some old resentment. So, somehow he wasn't on a lease. So only I ended up being sued for all these damages. And then he ended up telling the new landlord where I was now living at my new one bedroom apartment that he had gotten kicked out of for fighting me. He told that person where I was, so they served me. So I ended up getting sued for like years. I had this $5,000 judgment on my account for the longest because that was kind of a tangent, that whole part I just went through. My bad. Anyway, so he did everything he could do to ruin me financially. And the final thing he started doing was not showing up to meet me for the kid drop off so I can go to work. And so he did this consistently until I had missed like weeks of work. In addition to that, he was calling my job and threatening or just doing the most, causing, leaving threats, causing concern, blah, 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 blah. It led to me being fired from this temporary job at the bank. So I lost my job, but even when I got fired, weeks leading up to that, which also helped with me getting fired, he was not showing up for me to go to work. So I had to watch the kids and, couldn't go to work. So I lost my job. I lost weeks in pay leading up to losing my job. And my little apartment I was living in was just like a little month-to-month hood-ass spot. So eventually they were looking to evict me. Some other shit had gone on where the apartment complex had towed my car in error, and
As a result, they owed me a credit, and something stupid, one thing led to another. They didn't realize the credit was money they owed me. They thought I wasn't paying my rent because the person that knew the whole story left, didn't work at the office no more. It was a whole bunch of bullshit. It was like the perfect storm. Long story short, they were trying to evict me. They showed up to tell me I had a 24 hours to get out. This is now me in the apartment, no job. I just lost my job the week before, and I haven't paid bills because he's been making me not be able to go to work. And then now I'm getting evicted from my apartment. And so I called him and I was like, yo, you have to come get the kids because I'm getting evicted from my apartment. And so he did show up. Now, I had a chance to save my eviction, but due to some other family traumas that I have, I ended up getting evicted. I didn't have anywhere to go. I live, by the way, I'm living up north by myself, 1,000 miles away. My closest family member lives in New York. Um, but aside from her, the next closest family member is in South Carolina. So I'm doing all this by myself. There's no friends, there's no family. This is literally just me living life with this dude for years by myself. And so I ended up being evicted. And when he came to get the kids, they actually were actively evicting me. And he sat there, he laughed, he was making jokes, he was talking shit. He thought it was a big game. And his sister had already previously convinced or confirmed for me that he purposely did everything he did in the hopes that I would lose my job and eventually lose my place, because what good is my life if I don't need him, right? I'm trying to keep these like under 10 minutes. This shit is hard. It's so much. And it's crazy because there's so much. There's so much that I'm leaving out. And I'm still running my fucking yapping, bro. But I think I'm going to start a new part. So now I'm officially on the streets. I'm living out of my truck. My truck is like charged off, all kinds of shit. Like I'm in the trenches going through all this. I'm literally living on the streets of Hartford because, like I mentioned, I didn't have any family, any friends. All I had was old coworkers. And, this was also a life lesson to me because people who I thought were my friends and who would be there for me through anything, I was finding out the hard way that that absolutely was not the case. And so, I had to go through it by myself on my dolo. Like I eventually, like the day I got evicted, I think like the next day I got a job, another temporary job, and I did that, and then eventually I was able to have a second job. I was on the streets for about 4 months. I was literally going to my two jobs and sleeping in my truck. At some point, I started, my cousin, like I said, was in New York. So I would spend the week on the street, like the weekdays on the street, because I had to go to work, showering where I could, friends or coworkers, I should say, sometimes public restrooms, whatever I had to do to get ready to go to work and do this. And then on the weekends, when I didn't have to work, I would go drive to New York and stay at my cousin. She would give me, food for the week, help me do my hair. If she had any clothes, like just whatever, just helping me get through this shit. And so this went on for 4 months until my aunts and uncles found out or caught wind of the situation because they weren't aware due to the family drama I kind of mentioned but didn't go into. So they became aware. And then at that point, they were able, one of my aunts in particular was able to send me money on a weekly basis. So I would like kind of like ration the hotel money to use for food and gas, because also around this time I'm driving the V8. I'm sure I've been driving big trucks for a while, and this is the year when gas was something like $5 or $6 a gallon. Like this shit was ridiculous. So I'm trying to figure a way to ration the hotel money for food, gas, and hotel. So some days I would stay on the streets and I would stay at the hotel for a couple of days and go to New York. It was a whole thing. And I did this for 8 months. And then after doing this for a while, working these two temporary jobs, I eventually got a really good job working for a bigger company. And now I'm staying at a more extended stay type of hotel or motel, and I'm going to work at this new job. However, my car is unregistered, uninsured, charged off. Like the only thing good about me in this car was I had a fucking license. And so I was driving 25 miles one way back and forth to work with stolen license plates. And leading up to this, throughout my homelessness, I had been pulled over a bunch of times. I should have been with the jail. But
time out.
You've been watching Shawgood's TV. Too little to rehearse, too little to hide.
Protocol breach.
Installing
Installing
Truth
slash
X.
extracting core values. Loading software. Merging upgrades.
At full clarity.
Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Shawgood's